Alright, so look, I hear this all the time from sellers. They say, well, let's just price it high and we can just drop the price later. And I completely understand why they say that, but it usually backfires in the end. Yo, what's up everybody? My name's Taylor and I am your go-to local real estate agent here in Northeast Arkansas. Now look, before I get into this video, don't hate me for these truth bombs I'm gonna drop on you today. We wanna bring real solutions to your problems in today's market. And how we do that is we have to have hard conversations. And what I found in my real estate career is so many realtors, so many people in general are just not willing to have hard conversations with people. And the biggest and most successful things that have ever happened in my life have always come from the hard things. So without further ado, let's get into this video. So a couple points that I want to talk about whenever it comes to this seller psychology on let's just overprice the property and see what happens. I think if you're a realtor watching this, I guarantee you've ran into this before, or perhaps if you own a home, you've probably thought the same thing. And look, I'm going to be honest with you, I probably have done this myself, right? We call it the Facebook Marketplace psychology. You and I both know so many people are gonna lowball us in Facebook Marketplace, or it's like used car dealers. They overprice their property because, overprice their car because they know people are going to try to undercut them. Therefore, you kind of land somewhere in the middle. The problem is people basically judge your home based on the very first 3 seconds of ever even looking at it. And therefore, if you overprice the home from the get-go, they never even give you a chance, because chances are they're working with a real estate agent that's a professional that's probably walked them through this concept of, hey, this is not used car sales. This is not Facebook Marketplace. We don't just go lowball offer people and hope for the best. Traditionally, the strongest and best buyers are willing to put their best foot forward on a property that they love. So if you have any property worth its merit, the idea is to always list it competitively. That way it sells within a shorter amount of time. You attract the most people to it and ideally can create some sort of buyer frenzy, all for the same property that could be overpriced, not getting any interest. I've seen this time and time again. Somebody listed with the realtor that told them the highest price possible, and they go on the market and 6 months later, not one showing, not one buyer interested. And then they call someone like me and say, Taylor, I need to get the home sold. I tell them, well, buddy, you're overpriced by like $70,000. We drop the price, and within the first week it sells, and they think that I either shot them in the foot or they love me to death. And usually it's one of those two factors, because people have a hard time balancing the two acts of what my property is worth on paper and what my home will sell for in today's market. And I'm going to be honest, it's tricky sometimes, and it puts a lot of weight on realtors' shoulders, but that's why working with a professional matters so much. People always say to me, well, we can always just come down later, but the problem is people are judging it within the first 3 minutes of looking at the property. Therefore, or it's just not even in their search bracket in general. And so you may have to drop your price later on, but now you have 30, 40, 90 days on the market, and the people that are really interested in buying your home are now all of a sudden wondering, well, what's wrong with it? Why is it sat on the market for such a long time? And that can create more negative ripple effects later on. I heard this one before, and my Lord, I hear it all the time. Somebody will pay for it. They're gonna love this house. Well, you ever met somebody that thinks that their baby is just the cutest baby in the world, and me and you over here like, ooh, well, your baby's not all that cute, right? And it's the same way with houses. Everyone thinks that their home is the best home on the block, and their home is the perfectest and the most cutest home available. But in reality, this is why what we like to do is take our sellers on a couple tours of their competition and show them what they're competing against. And this helps us out a lot, because now we can see the competition and figure out what we can do to position ourselves better. You know, I've heard it said before too, all it takes is one buyer. That is true, but how many buyers are you missing because you did something wrong in the beginning? And ideally, in any kind of economy or sales, the more people that are interested in the one product typically make the price go up. So if you want top dollar for your property, the idea is to not go fishing for one person, but rather multiple people. So many people tell me, yeah, you know, I'd sell my house if you brought me a buyer, but I would rather bring you like 10 buyers rather than just one. And so many sellers are like, yeah, well, you know, if you can just bring a buyer, you know, I might sell it, whatever. But they might be missing out on the fact that the more buyers they can attract, the more money they can make. Here's the hidden cost of overpricing your home. It's the timing that it takes to get it sold, the mortgage and interest payments that you're going to be paying for the next 6 months, and the maintenance cost, and just the stress in general. Is it really worth it trying to get another 10 to 15,000 and then inevitably dropping it a negative 10 to 15,000 on what you could have listed it for months ago? Here's one thing I've learned as a real estate agent. The market always wins. Now, sure, there are exceptions where people put their home in the market at a crazy price and some cash buyer from Texas comes and buys it. Absolutely. But those are not things that you can predict and schedule and anticipate all the time without fail. Realtors, inspectors, lenders, appraisers, they all go based on statistics. So sure, some crazy things have happened in real estate, but if you're going to be a level-headed human being, we want to operate on fact and not just feeling. I want to share just a quick story with you. See this house right here? This house right here was owned by a seller of mine. I went in and he was a for sale by owner. He was trying to sell his house on his own, and I went in to try to earn his business, and he asked me what I thought his home should sell for, and I told him a value that was quite different than what he was expecting, and I stood firm in that because I knew the numbers. Well, unfortunately, the next realtor that ended up meeting with him did not have the same conviction that I did, and went in and overpromised and told him that he could sell it for way more than what I did. And what happened is they went on the market, 6 months go by, not one phone call, not one text, not one showing, and of course, no offers. Well, somehow the realtor gets him to sign another 6-month agreement with him, and the same thing happened. Then he went to another realtor that told him just a little bit cheaper of a price, and I do not even think out of my memory that they even got another showing at that point. And finally, a year and a half later, the seller calls me and he says, "Talon, I'm ready to sell my house, and I know that this price is unrealistic." And I went with the same exact numbers that I did in the beginning. And wouldn't you know it, we ended up putting the home on the market at that price, and were able to sell it within a timely manner, and he made the money that he deserved. I said all of that to say, if you're thinking about selling in the next year, I would love to have a realistic opportunity to earn your business, but more importantly, share with you the facts that it's going to take to really go from listing your house to selling it. So if that's you, you've been thinking about selling, I'm going to leave a link to my website where you can reach out to me directly, book a one-on-one call with me, and look, we too do things way differently than most people. Most people, you're going to call, they're going to want to try to list your home immediately. That's not the approach we take. There's a lot of steps that go into it to making sure that you're putting your best foot forward, and that's what we want to help you with. We don't want to just sell your home. We want to be a good resource to you. You might need to be repainting something, and the landscaping might need to be taken care of, or you might need to do a pre-listing home inspection before you ever list a home. And this is why meeting with a realtor well in advance before you decide to list your property is so much value. So if that's you, hope you will reach out to me. I'd love to have an opportunity to earn your business. Again, if you like this video, leave a like, comment something that you learned, and subscribe for more videos like this.